how to create a wave design in Photoshop CC220, colourful wave design, something like that. I'm going to use a brush as the start point. So go to the brush tool. I'm going to use blending mode of normal initially. And the key panels for this are going to be in the window and brushes and brush settings. So you can see those panels there. I'm just going to use a very basic circular brush. Soft round. I'm going to set it. You can vary the size, of course. I'm going to go for 400 pixels, whatever. And what you can do, you can set the settings there. And I'm going to go for size jitter. So push it up to fairly high. And you can see a preview, obviously, there. None of the others particularly matter there. Go to scattering. And what you can do, I'm just changing the scattering, make it a reasonable amount of scattering. And again, you can vary the count to make it more dense. Go down to color dynamics, because what I want to do is have some nice color in it. See there, the colors there, purple and orange. And of course, you can also vary the hue jitter as well, make that fairly large. And apply for tip at the top. Transfer, just set the, you can vary the opacity jitter if you wish. I'm going to set to 100%, and also flow jitter as well. And now you can, of course, just quickly try it out. Just apply it. Just go over it. You can see the brush design there. And of course, the result would vary depending on the colours you've got there. Now, I don't need the brush panel anymore. I'm not going to change it anymore, so move those ones out of the way, those panels. So you can just fill the entire screen with this. Now, you could apply this on maybe a layer, so you could make multiple layers. And of course, you can vary the colours. Don't have to go with purple and orange. You could go with red and green, but the result will be slightly different. But the end result probably will be much the same. So you can just fill the entire image. And you can do it over and over again, because of course it's normal at the moment, the blending mode. And if you want, if you think, well, that's a nice brush, you can of course save it to a brush preset. Just go to the brush, the presets in the corner, and then create a new tool preset. And now you can, because in this version 220, you can also just use it as a brush preset, which saves all the settings as well. So yes, I can just define it and save it. Or no, up to you. And of course, you can include the colour, etc. So what you can then do, you can of course vary the size if you want to apply it again, but you can apply it again using a different blending mode. So I'm just going to go up to the blending mode, and I'm going to go with difference and apply it now. And see what happens then. You'll suddenly notice you get this really weird color effect as you apply over with there. So you can just fill the entire screen. You can just obviously go over the whole lot, but what you can do, of course, keep it as difference and then release and then reapply again with the same brush, or maybe vary the size of the brush. And you can see again what happens is you get more and more unusual color effects appearing in your design. That's why it probably doesn't really particularly matter what colors you start with, though you can see there's obviously more tendency towards purple in there at the moment. Again, you can go and vary the size. You don't have to keep it as the initial 444. You can always reduce it or maybe increase it. Up to you. Because that creates some interesting variation in the design just by decreasing it. And you can obviously decrease it a few times and just keep applying it, this brush. So now you've got this really super colourful background. Now you could just use it as a nice super colourful background just like that. But what you can do, image menu and Autotone, And you can see the colour even better there. Now I'm not going to apply any more brush strokes to it at this point. Because what I want to do, I want to apply the wave filter to it. So filter menu and go down to distort. And I'm going to use wave. Now I'm going to set the number of generators to 1. I actually don't like putting it more than 1. Most of the time 1 is fine. I mean, no, you can create some interesting designs with it more, but just keep it for 1 and just change the wavelength. You can vary that. I would suggest keep the wavelength fairly high for both of them, but add some variation in it. And you can always randomize it if you want between those ranges. And also you can change the amplitude as well. You can reduce that one down and you can reduce the other one down if you wish. I'm also using a wraparound. You can also change the scale if you wish, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it 100% and using sine. So you've got your design there. What you can then do, of course, wave and filter it again. So you can see you can create some very extremely colourful designs by using that wave. Maybe play it again. You can go too far. At some point, it just starts becoming really, really distorted. And you can always undo, of course. Now you've got waves there, wrap around, that's the key thing. You could, of course, use the repeat edge. And if you don't like the end result, you can always apply these filters again and again until you're happy with your design. So you can create a number of variations. Of course, when you create that design with the wave, and you can apply it a couple of times, you can always export that design, export it via the file menu. But you also go to image menu adjustments and color lookup. So if you don't want that lovely colorful design, of course, you could always use image menu adjustments and vibrance, etc. Or maybe use instead layer menu and adjustment layers. Up to you. But you can run through the color LUTs and you can see you can create some very interesting different designs like that. Lovely foggy night one. Creates a lovely surface there. Horror blue. That's lovely as well. I love going through these. Sometimes when you just experiment, just go through. And of course, you can always create your own colour LUTs and then use those. So you can create some really garish, colourful ones or maybe very subtle, colourful ones. Gold blue. And now the colour LUTs will vary from. So if you're on the PC, some of those might be there, some of them might not. They are slightly different. So you can run through those and you can decide on gold and crimson. That looks great. And what you can, of course, do, you can always then go to image menu adjustments and maybe use Vibrance just to brighten it up a bit. Get that very powerful red and gold coming through there. Now, of course, what you can also do is a layer. So it's a standard layer. That's window and layers. So what you can do, you can duplicate layer. So layer menu and duplicate layer. Click OK. And then you go to edit menu and transform and you can flip it. Just slightly off the right at the bottom, slightly off the screen. So you can flip that, flip horizontal. Of course, also what you can do, you can always do edit menu transform and maybe warp, just warp it. You don't have to keep it as this. And you can create some interesting variations by maybe making 5 or 10 layers of the same design and then using the warp just to distort it, or maybe combine it with liquify. Anyway, go to the layers panel. And instead of using normal as the top blending mode, you can use maybe screen or lighten. Select one of those. Once you've done that, go to layer menu and flatten image. the bottom of the menu. No, I don't need that anymore. So you got your design there. You've got to create a really lovely, that beautiful wave designs interweaving all the way through there. And what you of course can do, image menu and Autotone. So again, you've got this. And of course, what you can do then, you can apply color looks again, or maybe adjustment layers, those sort of things. So image menu adjustments, and again, color lookup. Gold crimson, or maybe one the other, blue tone. Just run through them, experiment. Sepia. Sienna blue. Gonna go with something. Click OK. So you got your design there. So that's just all the way from basically a couple of dots, different colourful dots applied as a brush stroke. And of course, what you can do, you can go to the filter menu and distort and wave again and apply exactly the same. You don't have to change any settings unless you want to. You can click randomize, of course, just to randomize it if you want to create some variation. And again, click OK. And you can apply it once or twice. Maybe you can also, of course, apply the filter wave and then go to edit menu and then fade it. And maybe use a blending mode to blend between the applications. And again, what you can also do, image menu and Autotone, if you want to do that. So you can see these lovely strands all stretched and distorted. Hope you found this of interest. Please subscribe to the Graphic Extras channel, always adding new tutorials about Photoshop, Illustrator and many others. Please add some comments, always appreciated. A dislike or like. Thank you much.